Hey everybody, this is Trevor and thank you for coming to my channel. Today's topic, COVID. Who was right? Well, I'm going to say anyone who advocated for a voluntary lifestyle, that's who was right. That's who was right. Anyone who advocated for a voluntary lifestyle, and you're looking at one of those people who advocated everything voluntary for this COVID cough and flu. I knew since March 2020, the 2-week lockdown, what that was going to mean for society. It wasn't just going to be 2 weeks of lockdown. It was going to be, I knew that rushed in vaccines were going to come in. I knew that government was going to go beyond just shutting down businesses. They were going to do everything that we've seen in the past 3 years. I knew was coming. Between March and June 2020, I warned people all this was coming. You can't live by force. If you want to see how countries fare that live by force, look at places like North Korea, the former Soviet Union, and perhaps even the Soviet Union of today, Cuba, Venezuela, China. China, the country that Justin Trudeau admires the most. You cannot live by force. And I knew that definitely by June 2020, that everything the government was doing and it was going to do to supposedly help us against the cerveza sickness was going to be wrong. And I am just a layman. I'm not a special doctor. I'm just your regular Joe reporting on these things. But I have the foresight to know that if it's not voluntary, it's crap. COVID, who was right? I was right. And anyone who thought like me was right. Everything should have been voluntary. If you wanted to get a jab, should have been voluntary. Yet, even still yet here in Canada, there are places you cannot work unless you have up-to-date COVID vaccinations. Going into a store without a mask on was, no, you couldn't do that. I was turned away from many a store because I wouldn't put a mask on. I was humiliated by fellow citizens for not following the arrows through the stores like a frickin' cattle. I was humiliated for not using the hand sanitizer. There were celebrities, entertainers, politicians, celebrities big and small, that shamed people who wouldn't comply with the government mandates. And mandates, as I explained in another video, is just a fancy word for use of force. So who was right? I was right. Anyone who advocated for voluntary relationships, you people were right, and I commend you. For the at least 90% of society that fell into the trap of government out of fear, I'll forgive you, but I'm not going to forget. I will not ever forget what's happened since March 2020 around the world and is still happening today. Here in Canada, if you want to be a truck driver, work in the healthcare field, you still have to mask up. You still have to have whatever Justin Trudeau claims is up to date for COVID vaccinations. Governments around the world destroyed the economy, shutting businesses down. Small to medium businesses, mind you. Other businesses like Walmart and Amazon and large corporations were still able to operate. And Walmart, only once as I turned away from the door for not wearing a mask, the rest of the time I was able to go in and buy food. That's okay. The government wants you to, they need you to do that. But the small businesses suffered. They went away. It's a government's war on small business. So it wasn't COVID, really, that shut down society. It was government and at least 90% of the world population that fell into line out of fear. I guess some of it, yeah, fear of losing your job. You don't get the arm ticket, you lose your job. Oh, fear that you're gonna die if you don't get it. Well, last time I checked, everything dies. Our sun, our earth, everything that's on the earth dies. Everything dies. How about we try living? How about we just try living? Do I fear death? I fear it because I don't know what happens after this world. And anyone who claims to know otherwise, I don't listen to them either. But I guess once the lights are out for me and everybody else, that's it. But we've been made to fear death. And the government used COVID as a great example of that. And most people fell in line for it. I think and I hope that if another pandemic comes around, that most people, the 90% of people who fell in line, will not fall in line this time. It has to be voluntary. You cannot shut an economy down. And here's another thing. The governments obviously shut the economy down, but how many governments shut down the money printing machines? They didn't do that. They still collected their taxation. Government, a lot of their workers still had their jobs. Small business owners suffered the most. I will not let this ever go. I will never forget what's gone on in the past 3 years here. And it's still going on. And the government does not want COVID to go away. They will ramp this up with new variants and new this and new that. They're just smelling the environment to see how can they get away with stuff like this again. So who was right? I was right. I like to say I was right. I'm just society has to live on a voluntary basis, okay? You cannot shut things down. Or Canada, US, UK, all these supposed, I don't know, what are we, a constitutional republic? Are we a democracy? I don't even know what we are. Even China has a constitution. So, can you people please, for the next time this happens, you can't just bend over the barrel and give up your freedom. Never. Anyone who gives up their freedom for whatever reason, you're a weak human being. And I would like to see people stand up at least. You don't have to stand tall, but at least stand up for not just your rights, but the person beside you. Because they take away the rights of the person beside you. Eventually, whatever you deem as a great law or freedom, they're going to come and get it for you too. So if we don't stand up for everybody loses. And again, I still see a lot of these celebrities too that came out and shamed people like myself and people that were advocating for voluntarism during COVID. Now they want the pandemic amnesty. You're just All these big celebrities came out and shamed people. And now they're like, well, I guess we were wrong. Yeah, you were wrong because you traded in your freedom for not even safety. I don't even know what it was, but COVID, the Theresa Tams of the world, the Anthony Fauci's, we fell for we fell for everything that they said. Please, next time around, I really would like to see people adhering to freedom and living a voluntary way. Voluntary. If it isn't voluntary, it's crap. Okay? So, hope everybody's having a good day. Stay free.